We're in the company of royalty. Next. She serves as the Queen of the Royal Court and is the National President of FLUX, a network of trans leaders dedicated to raising the profile of trans and non-conforming individuals through innovative advocacy and events. She believes in leadership through service, and Her Majesty also has been a member of the Los Angeles County Prevention Council, the Los Angeles Commission of HIV Health Services, and the Transgender Service Provider Network. Please welcome to Transcend the fabulous Victoria Ortega.
Hi, everybody. I am so happy to be here with all of you and to be able to share space with you. Thank you for inviting me, Gracie.
Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your voice. And let's just get right into it. You know, we all have that aha moment of when we know within ourselves when we are a queen. When was the moment that you had queen deemed and added to your name?
I would have to say it would be September of 2008. It was 1 month after my mom had passed. And it's very hard to lose a parent. And I just recently lost my father this year in 2021. But in 2008, I was 28 years old and I had lost my mom and the matriarch of our family. So at that point, it was time for me to kind of take that on and take the position on of being matriarch, not only of the Ortega family, but also of the work that I did, and to really step into that work with a sense of duty over self. And that's kind of what's guided my life since then. It was a really big turning point for me in September 2008. But I got to say that I love what I do. I love that I get to lead not only at home with my family, but also among community, and that I have the privilege and the trust of my family and from community to be able to be a symbol of continuity and prosperity.
A powerful and moving moment that I can so relate on so many levels. However, here we are. You are now serving as the National President of FLUX. When did it first come about?
So we started FLUX in 2016, and we're now international. So that's the one biggest thing that's changed just recently. In August, we started our first international chapter in Mexico City, and we're going to Brazil, and then we're going to India.
Wow.
I digress. Going back to our starting point in 2016, we were thinking about what can we do that is different. Everybody's doing great work, providing great services. A lot of trans-led organizations are popping up across the country, but what can we do that was different? And our focus at FLUX is creating events and also creating campaigns. So telling our own stories, creating our own content for us and by us, not direct services, because again, a lot of people are doing a lot of great services that are already being rendered to our community. So we wanted to elevate the profile. And I really mean elevate in the sense of really creating what we deserve, not folding chairs in a backyard, which is great for our weekend parties and great for us within community. But we wanted to inhabit spaces where we were not expected. So we've done events like here at Newhouse in Los Angeles, at Nobu. We've partnered with National Geographic. We've partnered with Tiffany & Company to just make sure that to push these organizations to really be accomplices with us in knowing that we're powerful people. Not only are we talented, but we're also powerful. Trans people are able to shift and change energy in the world. And I don't think that oftentimes is what's highlighted. Everybody wants to go to what is wrong, the struggle, the porn, the trauma porn, but not necessarily show, hey, we are some badasses that kick ass every single day that we come out of our house.
And this is why organizations like FLUX are so important. I personally love the mission, like you said, as taking trans trauma and turning it into trans celebration. Like you said, we focus so much on the struggle and the hardships, which is important. However, we also need to highlight the importance of celebrating ourselves, celebrating our unique selves, and like you said, the gifts that we bring to the world, the power that we bring to the world, the energy and the force that we bring to the world. Now that the torch has been passed down from a legacy of queens, starting with Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, and Connie Norman, you recently opened the doors to the Connie Norman Transgender Empowerment Center in West Hollywood. How will the lives of today's generation and future of the community be changed and impacted?
Well, one of the things about the Connie Norman Transgender Empowerment Center is that it's exactly that, an empowerment center. And I think one of the biggest things and hurdles to get over during the promotion of the center itself was getting people to get away from thinking of it as a service center alone, but truly looking at an empowerment center. So the concept was to look at three pillars, and the pillars being nonprofit management, the second being advocacy, and the third being health and wellness. So those are pretty vague and overarching and encompassing many things. However, what we wanted to look at, and we're doing it intentionally, I should say, is being able to recruit trans-led organizations that could build the capacity of our community so that we could build our own future, our own road, our own buildings, and we could run our own institutions. That is my goal. Financial literacy and wealth management will be part of the components that is different from other organizations. So we are going to invest in partnerships with Morgan Stanley, with Charles Schwab, to teach our community financial literacy, but to also teach our trans-led organizations and partner tenants that are going to be here wealth management. How do we manage our collective community wealth so we could pass it on to the next generation? So that's what's different about the Trans Empowerment Center. What makes it the first in the world is that we're no longer thinking about just who can hand us another fish. We're looking at learning how to fish so we could feed ourselves and we could create our own banquets that we bring our own people to our own table.
Let's start there. Built for the community, by the community. You recently attended the Elizabeth Taylor Ball to end AIDS, and you looked absolutely stunning. Not to mention, you were complimenting with Billy Porter on the carpet. What does historical moments for the cause and community mean to you?
Well, thank you. Coming from you, which you are one of my fashion icons, I just gotta say that. So thank you.
Thank you, Queen.
For me, I think it's super important for people who have platforms, who are celebrities, who have a voice, are able to partner with community, and that we're not fighting each other, that we don't take away from each other. In fact, we complement each other. The funny story is that Billy Porter and I were the only two people wearing capes that day. And, one of the interactions is just like saying, we took a picture together, and I was just so enamored at how warm he was and how receiving he was to me as a person, and also to know that they can now be an amplifier for the message of the Connie Norman Trans Empowerment Center. And what we do, we can work together. And that's one of the things that we do differently too at FLUX, is we work with a lot of influencers like yourself, who can be a megaphone for the work that we're doing here on the ground. We can work together, and I think that that's the main message: is how do we collectively use our talents and our platforms to change the world for others.
Because real queens fix each other's queens and shines with each other. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I sit with you as two trans women who have been deeply loved and championed by both of our parents, who are now in heaven. If your parents were here right now, what do you think that they would say to you?
If my parents were here right now, and that's a very deep question, I think that my mom and my dad would say that they were proud of me, which they did say before. But furthermore, I think that they would say that they were proud of us collectively as community. And I think that that's what they would say. They would say that because, they not only welcome me, they welcome other trans community into our home, into our lives. And that's what I think that they would be most proud of, is collectively where we're at and where we're heading.
I echo that sentiment deeply. While walking the talk in your journey as a powerful and beautiful trans woman, what would be the one thing you hope viewers walk away with?
The thing that I hope is that people understand three concepts: house, love, and hire trans people. You will not regret it. We are the biggest blessing in the world, because that's what we're about. You give us a rag, we make a gown. You give us a building that used to be a hospice where people used to come and die at, like the Connie Norman Trans Empowerment Center used to be a hospice. We are now converting it to be a place for people to live and thrive. That is what we bring, is creativity. We don't even just change things. Changing something is changing the sticker. We transform, we break it down, we make it new. That is what lives inside of us, and the gift and the heritage that we have as trans people. So it's up to you if you want to miss out on the blessing that it is to be around trans people, who it is our duty in the world to create. That's up to you. You'll be missing out, but we wish you the best.
And there you have it. Queen Victoria, thank you for being with us today. On behalf of the community, thank you for your service and your leadership. Stay fabulously blessed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, to watch this episode again or for more stories like these, please check out our website at pluslikemedia.com. And are you following us at Plus Like Media? If you're not, what are you waiting for? Until next time, adjust your crown, lead with love, and keep queening.